Once you understand the vocabulary of points, lines, rays, planes, line segments, you're going to be required to identify them. This is not very difficult, but it is very important that we identify them correctly. There's specific notation to identify different of these things. I think you'll find in all cases it does make sense and it's pretty straightforward, but we want to make sure that we use the proper notation. So if we're talking about points, we are going to identify them first by drawing a point, then the letter which is associated. So here I have point A. Point A is one of the points that I have on this diagram. I could also identify any of these others, including, for example, point E. Again, notice I draw the dot for the point, followed by the letter which identifies it. If I want to identify a specific line, so for example the one that goes between D and F, all I need to do is pick 2 points on that line. So I could pick D and E, or E and F, or D and F, and use them to identify the line with a line drawn above it with 2 arrows, like this. I have now traced over the line that I'm talking about when I when I refer to the line DE in blue above here. Another example of a line is this line EB, which I have highlighted in orange. And again, notice that I always put the line with the 2 arrows above it to show that it is a line and thus extends infinitely in both directions. When we draw a ray, such as this ray BC, which starts at a point and extends infinitely in one direction, we want to make sure we reflect that the arrow only goes in one direction when we express the ray. So it should look like this. BC and a one-directional arrow. We could also express the ray ED in a similar fashion with the arrow only going in one direction. 2 more types of objects that I'd like to take a moment to explain how to properly identify are line segments and planes. Line segments, of course, are similar to lines, except they have ends. They have 2 endpoints and do not go on forever. So the line segment EF includes the point E, the point F, and everything in between. And the way that we express the idea of the line segment EF is we draw a line, and then under it we write EF. Notice we do not draw arrows on either end because this is only a segment and does not go on infinitely in both directions. I could similarly refer to the line segment AC as I have above in silver, writing AC and a line above it with no arrows. That indicates the line segment AC. To identify a plane, we can pick any 3 points so long as they're not all on the same line. So if I pick point E and point D, and I want to define a plane, I cannot then also pick point F. But I can pick any of the lines up here, because the points up here, because they are not on the same line with D and E. So I'm going to go ahead and pick point B. So just write the word plane, then I write DEB, which conveys the concept of the flat surface which all of these points lie on, or the flat surface of the screen. Alternatively, I could express that with any other 3 points so long as they're not all on the same line. For example, I could pick point B, C, and F and write plane BCF. But of course, this plane is simply the same one that I've described previously. It still represents the flat surface of the screen, just another 3 points to describe the same thing. Hopefully that helps, and please take care to use the proper notation to describe each of these geometric concepts. Thank you.